Hi, welcome to my channel Mostly Knitting. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new here, I'm Tash, and this is a weekly podcast where I talk mostly about the knitting that I've been doing during the week, and I also put out regular tutorials. So it's Wednesday the 14th of August, and I'm recording here in Sydney, Australia, and it is a really wet and wintry day. So I've got a lot to show this week because it's been 10 days since I last recorded with my friend Behm. I just have the one finished object, but it's pretty substantial, and it is what I'm wearing right now, which is Charisma by Martin Storey. So I'll just stand up and show you, and then I'll talk a little bit about the details. I'm just wearing it with a pair of pants, like work pants. Right, so I knit the 32 to 34 inch size, and I needed to go down in needle size to get gauge. I used you're meant to use 3 millimeters for the ribbing and 4 millimeters for the body. I had to go down to a 3.5 millimeter needle, but I still used a 3 millimeter for the ribbing. And I think as a result, it's not blousing as much as the design. So I think I probably, if I wanted that blousy effect, I probably needed to go down to a 2.75 or a 2.5 millimeter for the ribbing. I'm fine with what I've done. It's got quite a wide open neckline, but it is extremely warm, so I'm actually really quite happy that it's not any higher up on my neck. So the yarn it's a really interesting yarn, Rowan Patina. I use the recommended yarn in the colorway Confetti, and it's 46% mohair, 24% nylon, 20% wool, a merino wool, and 10% polyester. It has really good yardage, so this only weighs 163 grams, which is only a little bit over 3 balls. So each ball was 250 grams, 250 meters. So even though it weighs 163 grams, it's 810 meters. So I used just over 3 balls. I accidentally bought 5 balls, even though my size only needed 4. So and I made a Sophie scarf already because I knew I'd have plenty, and I've still got over a ball left over. I'm not sure what I will do with it. I might actually donate it to. I'm a high school maths teacher. But sometimes there's been students at the school are doing like art projects where they're doing sort of tapestries and weaving and things. And so I've brought in, some of my yarn, particularly this kind of yarn, might be quite nice for that sort of thing. So I might just donate it because I'm not sure, except for another Sophie scarf, what else I could do with it. It's a nice yarn and it feels nice. It's not at all itchy or anything, but it wasn't super pleasant to work with. Like it's sort of grabby and it just wasn't awful, but it wasn't my favorite. So let me see, what else did I do? I made lots of changes, which I have talked about over through the podcast, but I'll just do it sort of a quick summary. I did do a provisional cast on. It is meant to be knit in pieces, which I did do, but I did a provisional cast on and came back and did the ribbing later in the round. And I did twisted rib, half twisted rib, where I twisted the knit stitches but not the purls. And the pattern would have had you twist the knits, not the purls, but only every other row. Every one row would be normal knits and purls, another row would be twist the knits. And apparently that's the stitch pattern in the Chrysler top by Knitting for Olive. So yeah, it is a thing, but I chose to do like a full twisted rib, where not full twisted rib, half twisted rib, but actually twisting every single knit, and I'm quite happy with that. I did a little swatch and I liked it better, but I did come back and pick that up later. I also did, instead of doing a stair-step bind off, I did short rows and then a 3 needle bind off, and I'm quite happy with how that turned out. Not only am I happy with how it turned out, I definitely enjoyed that experience much more than I would have mattress stitching. I did mattress stitch up the sides, and that was fine, but I didn't love it, and I'm really glad I didn't have to do that all the way across here. So it's I'm really happy with it. I actually wore it the other day with a skirt from if you've been watching for a while, I had this Carnaby skirt which I dyed and then didn't do a great job of over dyeing it, and then had another go, still wasn't great, had one more go, and I finally was happy with it, sewed some buttons on. I actually wore it to work on Monday, with that skirt, and I'm so happy with this whole outfit. I'll put a picture of it up there, because I actually am happier with the colour that the skirt ended up, because I think it goes really nicely with this. And I also am really happy, these are just some navy pants. I think it goes really nicely. Obviously pink and navy is a nice combination. So yeah, I feel like, you know, I've got now a top to wear with that skirt, and I'm really happy with the end result. The only downside, I don't know about downside, but a little bit different, is it doesn't have that blousiness, because I used 3mm needles for the ribbing, which was what was recommended, but because I used a 3.5 for the body, I probably needed to go down to a 2.75 or a 2.5 to get that blousiness. But either way, I'm happy. So I don't think there's anything else I wanted to say, except I'm really happy it's done. It took me 88 days, so just a little bit under 3 months. So my next segment is Friend from the Vault, where I show you a knit that I made earlier. And I'm going to show you a shawl today, and it's called Nuvem by Martina Behm. And I used Sundara Findering Silky Merino in a lemon drop gradient. And I made this in 2015, and it took 1,500 meters. So it is huge. I'll just try to show you. It's lemon drop gradient by Sundara. I can't say it's like the best gradient I've ever seen. I think Sundara was only just getting into doing gradients, and yeah, those lines are pretty jarring. So it's a large shawl. It's hard to show you how big it is, and it has a ruffle on the end. You start with Judy's Magic cast on in the center, and then you knit out and do increases along these edges here, so it's kind of like a big long rectangle. Because I made this in 2015, which is nearly like 9 years ago, and for a long time it sat on the back of my chair at work. Because of the weight pulling off where these increases are, it's really, these sort of increases are really stretched out, because obviously, you know, if I had it sitting like that for a really long time, all of that weight is coming off there. So I'm actually thinking, I do have a little bit of leftover yarn from this, so I'm thinking I might, just for those bits, not all the way, but maybe just for those little bits there, I'll probably find that and just do a little bit of duplicate stitch and tighten that up a little bit. It actually only took me a month, so I must have knit on it pretty solidly in that period. I have to have a look and see how many stitches there were for the ruffle, because you're sort of increasing out, and then you do this rapid increase and do the ruffle, so that last colour is only this really tiny little section. So yeah, like, I was really into yellow at the time. I was probably a little disappointed with the gradient when it arrived, because of, like, you know, sort of how big the step was. But perhaps if I did something else, like I did it with another colour and I didn't sort of go boom, 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 it might have blended a bit better. But it's really, the yarn's really lovely and soft. But, you know, this might end up being something that I over dye black or something, because I don't have a really nice big black shawl. And it is big, like wingspan. It's more than my height. It's huge. So, and it is lovely and soft. So yeah, it might just, I wouldn't have enjoyed knitting it out of black. I definitely enjoyed knitting it out of yellow, but maybe it is something that maybe I'll have to patch that little bit up before I dye it though. So yeah, anyway, that's my Nuvem by Martina Behm. And yeah, I think that's the only thing I was going to say about that. So yeah, so it is really nice, and it's nice and soft, but yeah, I might over dye black. So before I get into my works in progress, I just wanted to show you some jewellery that I was sent by a company called MSBLUE. They contacted me a couple of weeks ago and asked if I was interested in trying out some of their jewellery. And I love jewellery, so I thought, all right, I'll have a look. And yeah, they have some really beautiful moissanite diamonds and lab-grown gemstones. So it's a lot more affordable than jewellery where it's actually mined diamonds or gemstones. But they are set in sterling silver and gold. So all the settings are really beautiful, and it's really high quality, but it's just a bit more affordable because they're not actually mined gemstones. So yeah, so I was having a look at their website, and they have like wedding and engagement jewelry, but they also have other fine jewelry, and they also do custom jewelry. So for things like anniversaries or for an engagement ring or whatever, you can actually do something really simple or something quite elaborate. So I just chose a couple of things from their website that I that really spoke to me that I thought were really beautiful. I like fairly simple earrings, so I chose these just these simple minimalist sterling silver hoop earrings, and I love rings, so I chose this emerald cut. I'm going to cover my face so you can see, hopefully, emerald cut, like a lab grown. There we go, emerald with these little sapphires in the along the shank. And yeah, I just thought it was so pretty, and it arrived really quickly. And I showed my daughter Alex, and she was like, "Oh, I want some." So I think I might actually have to, for Christmas or her birthday, have a look at something that might be nice for her. So yeah, I just think it's really beautiful. They have free shipping within the US and Canada, and for Australia and the UK, I think shipping something like $6.90. So very affordable, and it came very quickly. It arrived in like a week, and it arrived in really nice packaging, like like a really nice box with the ring. It was in like a nice proper, heavy duty kind of ring box with a little cleaning cloth and a ring sizer, so you can just like put that through and work out. I actually, when they asked me what size ring to send, I actually just took one of my rings up to the local jewelry shop and got it sized, because I didn't actually have one of these, but I thought it's quite handy that I got this, because then I can sort of try my daughter's, see what size is right for her, and or for a different ring finger or whatever. So yeah, I'm really delighted with it. I think it's really beautiful, really nice quality. I'll show you the ring again because I just think it's so pretty. And it was an excuse for me to go get my nails done. So they're MSBLUE. They, I think they donate like a couple of dollars for every order for planting trees and things. And obviously it's a bit more sustainable perhaps than mined jewelry, and certainly a lot more affordable. So thank you very much, MSBLUE, for sending that to me, and yeah, I really love it. So if you like the jewelry that they sent me, I have links to these two specific items in the description below, and also a link to their shop as well, and a coupon code as well for 15% off. So if you type in Natasha15, so I'll put that below, and it's also will be in the description, you'll get 15% off anything that you order from there. The links that I've provided below are affiliate links, so if you click through those links, I will get a small percentage of the purchase price. Right, onto my works in progress. I have one new work in progress, and that is Fjolla by Isabell Kraemer, and I'm knitting that out of Myak Baby Yak Lace held double, so in the colourway Oatmeal. And I only just started this 2 days ago, so I've just got to the point where you join in the round. So it's got this, I'll put a picture up there, but it's got this really lovely, get my hair out of the way, lovely detail of lace on this shoulder and sleeves that runs all the way down, and there will be a little lace section here, but I've only just started. So you start off knitting flat, and by doing that, and you actually get to sort of shape the back neck up higher, so you don't need to do short rows because you're knitting flat for a while, and then that, the back is higher then, and then you join in the round. So I will have to come back and pick up stitches for the neckband, but I'll do that. I'll wait till I finish these two balls, and then I'll pause on the body or wherever I'm at, pick up the stitches, because I do like to get that finishing done, and then work my way down the body again, because I just find that helps with sizing and everything. So I'm knitting the smallest size. My gauge is pretty, actually I'll have to have a look at what size that is, and I'll put that down below. I did 2 gauge swatches. This one was on a 3.75mm needle, and then this one was on a 4mm needle. And I went for the 4mm needle because it was closer to gauge. Gauge is 21 stitches over 4 inches, and on the recommended needles I got 24, even after blocking. And then on the 4mm, it was still a little bit larger, I got 22 stitches. So if that stays at that gauge, I'll put down here what the size for the bust will end up being. And it is meant to be not hugely oversized, but a little bit of positive ease. So yeah, it's a really lovely yarn to work with. I'm enjoying making it, and the lace is super easy to memorize. It's just a 6-row repeat. So I've got about, I think, maybe 19 rows of lace on the front, but that's all. And then after that, it'll be stockinette for the rest of the body. But the sleeves, all the way down will have this 6-row repeat, but honestly it's obvious even which row you're on as well. So the only thing I'd say that there's a little kind of, it's not too tricky, but it might be a bit tricky if you've never done lace before. Out of the 6-row repeat, the 3 of the rows is plain, and there's 3 actual lace rows, there normally would be, like on the right side you do the lace, and obviously if you're knitting in the round, it's every other round. They have yarn overs next to pearls, and that can be a little bit tricky because normally, like to put the yarn over after a pearl, you sort of actually have to just, move or just let the yarn drape over. And what that happens is then on the next round, when you go to knit the stitch, it's mounted incorrectly, differently. So it looks like a reverse yarn over, so you just have to knit into the back of it. If you've ever made a yarn overs around pearls, you know what I'm talking about. It can be a little bit awkward the first time you've done it, and you just have to be a little bit careful when you come to knit them on the next round. But other than that, really, really easy, straightforward lace, and I'm really enjoying that. So that's obviously that's going to take a little while. So that's only been on the needles for 2 days. Another work in progress is Magnolia Bloom by Camilla Vad. Now, I might actually try this on. I have a nude cami on after this. I haven't made any progress since last week, but because I don't have the new yarn, I had to order more. So I should say this is Magnolia, if you haven't seen this before, Magnolia Bloom by Camilla Vad. I am using Rerum Natura Ulysse in the colourway Bruyere, and Rowan, no, not Rowan, Hedgehog Fibres Kidsilk in the colourway Purr. And I'm running out of this, so I ordered some more. I ordered it from Wool & Company on the 2nd of August, and I saw it arrived in Sydney on the 9th of August. It's now the 14th, and then the tracking stopped. So I don't know, because it's coming from the US, I don't know whether that's like they can't, it's in somewhere in transit, but it's just not getting pinged on USPS anymore. So it could turn up anytime, I don't know, hopefully soon. If it arrived in Sydney last Friday and it's Wednesday now, I'm hoping it arrives by the end of the week, because I'd love to get working on this. So when I showed it last week, even though I haven't made any more progress, I wasn't able to try it on because Beck was here and there just wasn't a lot of room. So this is just a camisole, so I'm not getting fully undressed. So this is what I wear underneath Charisma and anything else that's a little bit, you might see it. Obviously, you might see stuff through that. So this is, sort of close to skin colour. And so I'll just try it on for you so you can see. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. It's super, super soft. I think the bobbles are coming up really nicely. I would wear a white, because you can see obviously there's some yarn overs and stuff, you'll be able to see through it. So I think I'd probably wear a white shirt underneath it, like a white t-shirt, because I don't mind a little bit of white showing through. So I've got a bit more of the body to go, and obviously lots more of the sleeves, and I'll just make it work with. I've got that was a full skein when I started a full skein at the sleeves, but I'm going to have to rip that back. Sorry, a bit of fluff. This is very, very fluffy, this yarn, but super, super soft. So I will probably rip this back so that I can hold one strand of this, because I'm holding the Ulysse single and the Kidsilk lace double. So I'll hold one strand of this and one strand of the new yarn when it comes. But I think I'm really, really happy with it, and I want to finish it before it gets before the weather warms up. So that's Magnolia Bloom by Camilla Vad. I want to see if there's anything else I want to say. It's been on the needles for 22 days, and obviously not making any progress because I don't have yarn for it, but because the needles that I'm using are quite large, so I used a 5.5 for the ribbing, and I'm using a 6.5 millimeter, I should say 5.5 millimeter for the ribbing, and that's a double fold neckline, and 6.5 for the body. It's going, when I'm actually knitting on it, going quickly. One thing I would say is if you're concerned about running out of yarn, which if I'd thought ahead I would have realised, I did see some projects online that look like this size and I would have enough, but anyway, I don't, is to potentially do the ribbing on with just holding one strand of the lace, because you'll still get the effect, but you'll get to sort of conserve a bit of yarn. I started with this, so I can't go back and rip that out. But if I'm still really concerned at the end, I'm happy to do like just a single strand of the mohair on the cuffs and even on the bottom as well. So we'll see. Anyway, that will hopefully arrive soon. My next work in progress is has made lots of progress actually. This is Woolen Berries by Joji Locatelli, and I'm using this Cardiff Cashmere Classic in this creamy colour way and a navy called Cosmo. And let me see, I'm knitting it on one needle size larger, which is a 4mm needle instead of the recommended 3.75. Just I needed that to get gauge. Yes, so I'm knitting the smallest size. My gauge is still probably a little bit tighter. So I've got one set of needles here, and I've got the rest of it sort of on cords and stuff. So I've finished, it's got this 6 stripes on the sleeves and the body, and I just got it to the point where I finished the navy everywhere, and I'm going to weave in my ends and block it very carefully, because I really like on very cold water, because I don't want, and I won't be leaving it, I'll be blocking it very carefully because I don't want this navy to bleed into the cream, so I'll be careful but I mean I need to be able to wash it at some point, so I have to be able to block it. So I'm going to fully wet block it and just see how this, because it's like a drop shoulder construction, it's got this really lovely detail. It's meant to have these buttons on the shoulders, but I'm not really into the buttons, so I won't do that feature. But yeah, it doesn't look like I have much to go. Like I've got not a lot for the rest of the body, super soft, and yeah, not even that much. Like I'm already at the elbows with the sleeves. I've got plenty of yarn. I'm going to make it full length. It's been on the needles for 23 days, so I cast it on around the same time as Magnolia Bloom. I'm doing jogless stripes. Let me see which side. Actually, I might take it off and show you. I'm doing jogless stripes, and even though Joji says you can carry the yarn up, I decided not to, because it's 8 rows and 5 rows, and 8 rows is a long way to carry yarn vertically, and if you do that, you don't have any tails to kind of tidy up around where you're bringing it up and around any areas of uneven tension. So it does mean I'll have I have a lot of ends to weave in, but you know what? You do it once and then it's finished, right? It's not that big a deal. So I'll show you, this is the side, obviously this is the side that is discontinuous, so there's no jog at all there. Here is where I've done the jogless method, and you can see that even though it's kind of not too jarring, it is a bit uneven in tension, because you pull, the method that I'm using is you knit one round of the new colour, and then when you go to knit the first stitch on the second round, you bring up the loop from the previous row of the other colour and knit them together. And it does, particularly because this is kind of not super dense fabric, the gauge is just a little bit like, I don't know the gauge, but like the stitches are a little bit open around there. So I'm going to use the tails when I weave them in to, neaten that up a little bit, maybe duplicate stitch if I need, certainly tidy it up a little bit. Whereas I wouldn't, if I didn't have any of those ends, I wouldn't be able to do that. So that, let me see, was there anything else I wanted to say? Yes, no, I think, really there's not much else to go now, because I've picked up the stitches for the arms and knitting down, so it's just knitting in the round. I did find, so I'm doing the decreases down the arms, and I did the decreases, I think I did them like 1, 2, 3 decreases, and then I thought, actually, I'm going to stop decreasing now, because my arm doesn't decrease very much until later, so I haven't done any more decreases for the sleeves, but I'll do some more in this section, because that's when I start to get a little bit smaller. So, with all of these sorts of things, you can follow the pattern, but it's a very easy way to change, to just, you don't have to do all of the decreases every 10th row or whatever that the pattern says. Like I chose to do it every 12th row or 13th row, because that fit in with these colours, and I didn't really want to be trying to do a jogless join and decrease around the same spot. So I thought, well, I'll just decrease in the middle of the navy. I think that's it. Yeah. I did a tubular bind off for the neck because it is a 1x1 rib. I can't remember if the pattern said to or not, but I did that there, and I'll do it the same for the cuffs and the bottom. My last big work in progress is the Champagne Cardigan by Petite Knit, and I'm knitting it out of Shepherd Supreme and Knit Picks Aloft in the colourway Oat. And what have I done? I've picked up all of the stitches to do the double knit button band. There was over 300 stitches there, and I used a 4.5mm needle for the body and a 3mm needle for this double knit button band. So I picked up and I started down here, and I've done the buttonholes, and I actually did a little recording of that. I'm not sure if Petite Knit already has some on her website, or at least on something that she links to. But I thought, because it's in another language, I just did a video of myself doing it. The other thing that I did change is, because I'm a little short of yarn, I was a little bit worried about running out, and this is so oversized. The button band is a very wide button band, which I quite like. It's a 15 stitch button band. And I ended up deciding partly to conserve yarn, partly to, just because it is so large, I made it 11 stitches. So you center these buttonholes, and the double knit is a knit, it's like knits and purls, but you slip the purls and knit the knits. So because this is meant to be centered, and it's normally meant to be a 15 stitch button band, I needed to be able to take off a knit and a purl on either side. So I went from 15 stitches down to 11 stitches. It's still, wide enough. It's not as wide as the pattern, and I do really like that. So I'm a little bit bummed that I won't be able to have that. But in terms of sizing, I haven't finished the button band. You can see this is where I'm up to. It's really slow. It's not so slow going. Every row or every back and forth is 1 minute about. And over 300 stitches, that's over 5 hours on the button band, and it's 3mm, and so it's kind of hard on my hands. So I definitely have not been able to do it all couldn't do it all in one sitting anyway. Who can knit for 5 hours straight? Certainly couldn't do that with how tight it is. And so I've just been doing a bit at a time. So I've still got 120-ish stitches. I've done all the way up one side and around the back. And now I'm just I just have to do down this front. So it's still about another 125 stitches. So still over 2 hours. And even that I couldn't do in one sitting. So that's why it's kind of nice to have, different things on the needles, because there's no way I could do this and then, I can do a little bit of it and then I'll do something else that's much easier on the hands. So I had to unravel my swatches, which is fine. I don't mind doing that at all. And they were super, super curly. I'll put a picture. That's what they looked up after I unraveled them. And then I just soaked them. I put little ties around them so that they didn't get all messed up. And so I think these two had mohair. A couple of them have mohair in them. So they're soaked enough now. I just need to wind them up. And I've got 3 more. These come in 25 gram balls. They're quite small, only 50 meters each. So I've got this left for the rest of this button band, and 3 more of these balls, plus all of this. So I think I'm going to be fine because I finished the body. I've just got to finish the double knitting and the sleeves, because they are so they start down here, which is it didn't take me, there's not, I'm already at the elbow. So I think I'm going to be fine. Maybe I could have gotten away with the full 15 stitch button band, but I think this will be it's not that big a deal. And certainly size-wise, I don't need the width of the extra button band. So then that will come out here, and then this will sit on top. And yeah, I just got to find some buttons. I need 4 buttons. I might have some in stash. I'll have to have a bit of a look. So that's it for my big works in progress, and I have a couple of small ones. So my 2 small portable works in progress are my standards, the Musselburgh hat by Ysolda Teague. I'm knitting this out of Madeleine Tosh Merino Light in the colourways Neon Peach and Antler. This is a repeat knit because I've already made one before, but I gave it away. So I'm at the point where I'm actually decreasing. So I've got my markers in, decreasing for the top. So it won't be long, and that's almost finished and should be finished by next week. So that's kind of my portable knitting. I can still knit and walk with this, but I just have to drape or, you know, on playground duty or whatever, when I'm knitting it, because that's too heavy to have like sort of like that. So what I do is just have that over my arm as I'm knitting, and then I have this in like a project bag, so that I've got that sitting like that, and the yarn's coming out of here, and then I'm knitting, but that weight is not pulling down. I've got it sort of just draped over, and then I can knit like that. Does that make sense? So that is that should be finished by next week, and I have to think about what hat to cast on next, because I kind of feel like I don't feel like doing another Musselburgh. I want to have a look at either another Oslo hat, or maybe just try another. I kind of feel like a bit of variety with my hats. I want to try a different hat. The other work in progress is my skimmer socks, and I'm knitting that out on a 3.25mm needle, which is my standard. And I'm knitting some skimmer socks by Sheila Toy Stromberg. I'm knitting that on a 2.25mm needle, and this is Santa's Gun Sunday in the colourway 4008. Has no nylon in it, so I'm just fingers crossed that I don't wear a hole in it, but I'll keep a bit of an eye on it. So I'm at the point where I think I'm about to start for the heel, but because I'm a little bit unsure, you know, like I've just got to the right number of rows from where I stopped here, I just need to check it against some of my other ones, because, you know, my row gauge might be a little bit different. I might need to do a couple more rows because it's a fairly thin fingering weight yarn. So that is it for my works in progress. I thought what I might do is actually do my hidden button, because I had that Carnaby skirt sort of, you know, I wore it on Monday and I was so happy in it. I thought I'll grab my hidden basket of whips and pull something else out of it, and either it will get done or it will get frogged if I don't want it anymore. So the thing that I thought I would, so I've got this basket here of whips, and some of it's mending, some of it's just like, you know, stuff that I'm sort of like, you know, like, am I going to finish it or not? So there's even a crochet thing in here. So, but I'll just one thing at a time. It would be overwhelming for me to try to go through the whole thing. And I haven't even pulled anything out of it for such a long time because I was so busy with work. So one thing I did realise is that I actually want this project bag back. So this has been sitting in there, and I really like this. It's got this really cute little, like it's really soft and corduroy. I can't remember when I got it, but I think I might have even got it on D-Stash. Anyway, I pretty much have decided I'm going to frog this, but I will show you what it is before I do it. This is Hane, Hane, by Kirsten Johnston. She's an Australian designer, and I'm knitting it out of Shibui 100% linen in the colourway Poppy. So obviously this is a bit of a, you know, the whole orange thing has been a bit of a, and I thought it went really nicely with this bag. Yes, now this top it's kind of like an asymmetrical. It's got a frill on one side and a sleeve cap on the other, but you could do frills on both sides. And I just don't like, it's also got like a hem, like that's kind of like longer on one side than the other, which is similar to that top that I made to Muzakazi or something. I can't remember, I'm not saying it right, I'm sure, that I showed a few weeks back as my friend from the vault. Anyway, it has a hem like that, right? And a folded hem, and it's sort of asymmetrical. I've done, this is a lot of knitting. It's a fingering weight linen, and I've done everything except the I think it's an I-cord neckline and a pickup for the sleeves, where I think I was going to do a ruffle on both sides. I don't think I wanted a sleeve cap on one side and a ruffle on the other. I think I was going to do ruffle on both sides. Anyway, I have plenty of yarn. I've got another whole ball. I had 4 balls of this. The yarn is meant to be made out of 100% linen yarn, but this yarn, the Shibui, is 50 grams is 225 meters, whereas so 100 meters would be 450 meters. 100 grams would be 450 meters. The recommended yarn, 100 grams, is 320 meters, so probably more like a sport weight. So either way, like it's a linen, but it was, you know, definitely lighter. But it just looks, I think, quite sort of untidy. I mean, I haven't blocked it, but it's got all this really aggressive waist shaping, which I'm not really. I cast this on in December 2015, so this is like 8.5 years ago. That's so embarrassing. Anyway, and because I didn't really know if I wanted to finish it or not, I just put it in a bag and put it away. as you do. I'm sure there are other people who do that. Anyway, which means I haven't had this bag, and I didn't make a decision because it just went in a corner. In fact, I think I know what happened. I started this in December 2015, and I went back to full-time teaching in 2016. So I think I probably just went too hard basket, literally too hard basket, and yeah, just haven't touched it since then. I'm quite sure I'm going to frog this. I don't like it. I think there was a lot of short rows in the round, and I didn't like how that's when I actually first did some craftsy classes on short rows in the round. But look at that. Oh, isn't that awful? So, you know, I hadn't learnt a lot of the techniques at that point, and I was struggling with it. And, you know, and also this yarn is not very forgiving for that kind of thing. So either way, that looks rubbish. So I'm quite certain I'm going to frog this. So I'm very happy to be like pulling it out and get the bag back, get the yarn back. And I think what I'm going to do, because I have 4 balls of this, so that's 900 meters, I think I'm going to double it and make an Audrey top. I really like my black Audrey top by Petite Knit. And I didn't use even 400 meters of a DK weight cotton. So hold these two together. I think that would be quite nice. And yeah, I think I'd quite like an Audrey top in this color. So yep, so that's my hidden basket of whips. I'm definitely going to rip that out. So, and I got a new project bag. On to acquisitions and plans. I don't have any new acquisitions, but I do have some plans because I bought quite a bit down at the Knitters Guild retreat. And so I swatched this Noro Competo yarn, and that's how it looks. And it's really lovely and soft, actually. It's a silk cotton, I think polyamide blend. And yeah, I really like that. I think it's going to be a beautiful blend of colours. And I'm going to make a vest out of it, the Nansei vest. Now, my gauge is a little bit looser, actually. The Nansei vest needs a 22 stitch gauge, and I'm getting 21. So I might have to do a little bit of mathing with the pattern. But yes, I really like it, and I like the fabric. So I don't want to go down a needle size and make it tighter. I want to use it at this needle size. I think it was what did I do? I think a 4mm needle. So yes, so I'm happy with that, and it feels really lovely. So I think that will make a really nice Nansei vest, but I might just have to figure out the pattern. So that's a plan. Another plan is the shore tee. Now that I've finished, I didn't want to make the shore tee while I was still making Charisma, because this is my swatch for the shore tee, and you can probably see it's quite similar, except I think there's just a little slight difference in terms of on the reverse side. With this one, you did some purling. With this one, yeah, I think it's, or maybe a knitting. Anyway, I can't remember. But there's a slight difference. And sometimes when you've got like the same but not quite the same stitch pattern, if you're doing two, you know, you'll end up mixing the two up. So I did a swatch. This is on a 3mm needle this is the Shore Tee by Anne Wenzel. I did not get gauge. This is much tighter on a 3mm needle, and it's quite stiff. And I've even been like sort of, you know, I've blocked it, been sort of carrying it around because it's out of some linen yarn. I'll have to put down below. I've forgotten what the yarn is. So I'm going to have to do another. I'm going to do another swatch of this. I think I'm even going to jump up to a 3.5mm needle. This is the Isia Trio 2 and Alpaca 1, and they are in the colours that are in the sample. So yeah, I'm going to try and jump up to a 3.5mm needle, I think, and see how that goes. But I really like it, and I'm keen to make the tops, so that is definitely a plan, but I just need to do that swatch. Another thing that I thought about when after getting this Kidsilk lace, because I got 3 skeins of this on D-Stash at the retreat, is the Milky Way tee. And the Milky Way tee has this, mohair, but then it has a fingering weight yarn, sort of for the trim. So I just would have to find, and I've probably got enough, I don't think it uses a lot. I need to find some fingering weight yarn, and I obviously have like a choice of colours that would go with that. I could do something that's a hot pink, I could do something that's kind of a bit creamier. Yeah, anyway, thinking about the Milky Way tee for this yarn, I thought that might be nice for that. So yeah, I do want to make the peacock tee out of this Cascade Ultra Pima cotton, And maybe, still need to have a look at my wardrobe, maybe the Sabai top out of this Cascade Ultra Pima in this kind of like light sagey sort of green. I just need to make sure that I have pants that this would go with. There's no point making a top and then going, now what am I going to wear it with? So anyway, so I have 3 skeins of that. I think I have 6 skeins of that, so I have plenty. And my Clover Tea only took less than 3 skeins, so that should be fine for both of those. Yes, so that's it for my upcoming plans. For what has caught my eye, just 2 things. One is something that's still in testing. It's called Alhambra by Isabell Kraemer, and I saw I'm Loving It, Betsy's version, and it's so pretty. She does so many beautiful test knits. So she used something called Marjo Tweed Supreme, which is a 4-ply merino, and Ito Kinu, which is 100% lace weight silk. So that's what she used, and it looked really, really pretty. Obviously the pattern's not out yet, but hopefully coming soon. And the other pattern that caught my eye is called Stromboli by Caitlin Hunter. Sorry, I just got fluff in my eyes. And that is knit with Myak Baby Yak cotton blend fingering, but at a 22 stitch gauge. So those 2 caught my eye. I haven't looked at, yarn for it or anything, but I just saw them and thought I'd mention them because they look really pretty. That's it for the knitting content. I haven't done any sewing or crochet or any other kind of crafting, although I do want to, hopefully soon. But yes, that's it for now, and I'm just going to get on to personal stuff. So in the last sort of 10 days since the retreat, I've just been watching the Olympics and doing a lot of knitting, mostly sort of simple stockinette stuff, so I can watch things like the gymnastics and the athletics and everything, which has been really good. I've also been getting back into my walking because I got an audio book out from the library called The Happiest Man on Earth by Eddie Jaku. It's not read by him, but it's his story. And he's done a TED talk actually. He has passed away now. He died at 101. So he was a survivor from the concentration camps, and he moved out to Australia. And yeah, it was just it wasn't a very long audiobook. It was only 5 hours, but I finished that. So I was and I just kept it for when I was walking and knitting. So it meant that I was like, I want to go for a walk because I want to hear more of the story. So audiobooks for me are really great. So when I go for a walk, either I listen to a podcast or I listen to an audiobook and have my knitting with me, or I chat with a friend or whatever. So I listened to The Happiest Man on Earth. That was really good. And I had to pause on my lessons in chemistry because the Olympics started and I wasn't able to watch the Olympics and knit and also read and knit. I could do a lot of things at once, but I can't read and watch the Olympics and knit all of those things at the same time. Anyway, so I stopped this and I was probably about, 2/5 of the way through. And then I actually saw it was on available at the library on, it's called BorrowBox. Anyway, whatever you like. We have an Audible account, but I don't use it that often. My husband uses it more. I used to listen to a lot of audiobooks, but I haven't for a while actually. I guess podcasts and things. Anyway, so I got this out on BorrowBox. So I actually read this from the physical book and knit while I was reading, but it's definitely easier to listen to an audiobook. But it is different. So, but anyway, I got it out and I think I'll try with my walking. Although it's raining at the moment, so I won't be able to go today. But walking and knitting and listening to the rest of this on audiobook. So I got that out. Other things that have been happening, just like marking my students' trial exams and things. The only other really real bummer of a thing that happened recently was my husband's car got stolen from our garage a week ago. And anyway, it hasn't been found yet. He had it wasn't a very new one, but a BMW, and I guess they're a pretty high in demand car, but just really kind of nerve-wracking that they actually stole it from our garage. So yeah, anyway, that's something that happened, and now we're in the process of, I guess, having to look for a new car. We'll have to wait and see if it gets found, but it doesn't, you just don't know with these things. Other than that, just normal, trying to stay healthy and balanced with work and rest and not doing too much of anything. We started, since the Olympics finished, we started watching season 2 of The Bear, and I think, picked up again. I think we'd already started it, but it's always weird when you sort of partway through a series and then you stop for something and it's hard to kind of get back into it again. But yeah, we're enjoying that, and I think that's it. Right, so I think that's it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.